Oliver, what's your most devious act you've done? Oliver responds with a mischievous gleam in his eyes. My most devious act was stealing a whole loaf of bread and scatter crumbing it through the house. Paul's up for sassy adventures. Meow.
He pissed on my Ugg boots. That was the sassiest thing he had ever done. Devious, whatever. Okay, so I guess it's story time. I can't just walk away from saying he pissed on my Ugg boots. So it's during the time I was living in Texas still. And while I was living in Texas, we had this massive snowstorm. I'm sure y'all remember it. It was a snowstorm in February of like 2021. It was the same snowstorm where Ted Cruz decided to go on vacation with his family to like Cancun or some bullshit, and a lot of people saw him like in the airport, and you know, big debacle. The area of Dallas that I was living in, because Dallas is huge, the area of Dallas that I was living in, we were under at least 7, I say 7, I was going to say 7 inches, but no, it was more like 2 feet of snow. Everything was frozen over. I was living in an apartment complex at the time, and I remember stepping outside. I have photos of this too. I remember stepping outside and looking into like the inner portion of like the apartment complex. So like, you know, where you can see like your neighbors and you know, sometimes they put a swimming pool there, whatever. This swimming pool was frozen solid. The swimming pool had a little water fountain, and the water fountain was frozen solid. It was frozen mid-fall. It was that cold. And frozen over, and it was ridiculous. But with all of that, we had no power. We had no power for 5 days. My side of the apartment complex didn't have power for 5 days. Yeah. So that means everything in my fridge had to be thrown away. That meant, you know, I couldn't charge my phone. I had to walk out to my car and charge my phone. I couldn't get online. We were working from home still because of COVID restrictions. I couldn't work. So I was forced to take days off. I couldn't turn my heater on, you know, that kind of thing. And so, of course, because it was so fucking cold, I had been wearing, like, my Uggs in and out of the apartment to, like, go back and forth to my car, or if I, like, needed to go get something or whatever, then, you know, I used my Uggs. And so my Uggs were, like, sitting by the front door. And I had an automatic litter box. And it wasn't one that, like, emptied out into, like, a water line, because it was really difficult to do that. It was just one that, like, it just rotated upside down and rotated back over. It was like a litter robot. I still have it. And it works just fine. But when the electricity is out, it doesn't rotate. And I'm gonna be totally honest, I forgot about it. I was so cold and was dealing with shit that had to do in regards to, like, my ex-husband. And so I was, like, depressed, and I was tired, and I was hungry, and I was cold, and I, you know, was trying to keep my cats warm, and I kept trying to, like, walk out to my car to, like, charge my phone, and then get warm because there was no heat. I didn't have a heater, you know, yada, 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 whatever. So I woke up, like, in the middle of the afternoon, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go jump in my car and charge my phone while I'm in my car. And I went to grab my Uggs, and I went to put them on, and when I put the first one on, I felt wet. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Why are they wet? And so I took them back off, and I, like, kind of sniffed them, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh my fucking god. Yeah, I did. I touched it. I didn't know it was there. I didn't know they had been pissed on, and I was so upset. So I was like, what the fuck? I had to get a different pair of shoes. Our water was running. I was able to get water somehow. Either my water was still running, or I like had a bottle of water in the fridge. I don't remember entirely, but I was able to like wash my hands and my leg off. And I was like, I'll come back to this later. I went and grabbed another pair of shoes and went out to the car. You say now's the mystery of who did it. I've had cats long enough to know that cat piss smells different between the genders. Male cat piss smells a very certain pungent way. And that was how I was able to tell it was Oliver. Because I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? But I couldn't smell it from like across the room for whatever reason. I had to like get up close to it and I could smell it. And it was like a pair of Uggs that I had had since college. And of course, I graduated, I want to say like I graduated in 2011. So that means that I had had that pair of Uggs for over 10 years. And they fit perfectly. Like, I don't know if you guys have owned Uggs before, but it's like, or any other shoe that's similar to Uggs. But like, when you put your feet in it, like the first couple of years or whatever, like your foot is still like molding into, you know, the shoe and stuff like that. And then, you know, after much longer, your foot finally starts getting like a shape into the wool or whatever, and that's when it becomes super comfortable. So I had those shoes for over 10 years, and they were finally at maximum comfort level, like all over. They were so comfy, all this junk. I was genuinely upset, like about to start crying upset because he pissed on my shoes. Like, I was about to throw him into the snow. I was so pissed. Of course, I would never do that to my cat, but I was just... that was the devious thing that he ever did. That was the most devious thing. And to this day, I will never forgive him for pissing on my shoes. I've come to make an announcement. My cat Oliver is a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my shoes. Anyway.